Gravel riding doesn't have to stop just because there's snow on the ground or it's cold. Riding and even racing gravel can be fun in the winter.
Here in Colorado, we're getting ready for the Old Man Winter Rally, the premier gravel winter racing event near Lyons, Colorado.
In this video, we've got 9 tips for you on how to stay warm, have fun, be safe, and enjoy riding and racing in the winter.
We're going to talk about clothing, tires, tire pressure, other tips with nutrition, and a lot more.
Alex House, former US Road National Champion, has ridden in races like, the Tour de France. Leah, as with Alex, is a pro in the Lifetime Grand Prix Series, who's also a former ski racer, knows how to go downhill at speed on ice and snow, on bikes and skis. So suffice it to say, you're in good hands here. Let's dig into some tips to help you ride fast, have fun on the gravel in the winter. Alex House, tire expert extraordinaire. Now on dried winter days, you'll go with what you normally run. Let's talk about days where there's snow and or ice on the surface. What do you do for pressure? Do you take it lower, do you take it higher, do you keep it the same?
I usually run a little bit lower. That Silka tire pressure calculator.
Absolutely.
That thing is awesome. But I never use what they recommend for like racing gravel in the summer, because you hit a rock and goodbye. Mm-hmm. It's usually a little too low. But for winter, I find it's like perfect.
Okay.
One thing you got to keep in mind is that if you set your pressure in your nice warm apartment, and then you go outside, and it's like 25 degrees, well, your pressure goes down quite a bit. I actually play around with the Tire Whiz. I don't have them on here right now, but the Tire Whiz from SRAM.
Quark.
Yeah, Quark. Yeah. They those are awesome, because then you can actually see like, oh yeah, I had 35 psi when I left the house, and now I have 20.
Right. To give folks a ballpark idea, where do you run a tire, like a 40 mil tire, when it's dry, and where do you run it when it's icy or snowy?
Usually when it's dry for myself, like I'm not super huge, I'll run right around 30, depending on the liners and all this other stuff, but usually around 30. For winter, high 20s, mid 20s. Doesn't sound like a huge difference, a few psi, but it makes a difference. One thing that I really look for in a winter tire though is the tread style. In summer, you always want that smooth patch in the middle. You don't always want it, but I do. I don't know. I don't like braking, so. In winter, you kind of look at it sort of like you would look at it with a winter car tire. You want some perforations in there, some cuts, some grooves. I like these little tufos that kind of hook up. Leah had those Maxxis Ramblers on. Those are great. Biggest thing I like in a winter tire is something that's tough and tubeless, because I never want to stop.
Right.
Ever.
So basic rules would be lower the pressure a bit.
Lower the pressure.
And go with a bit of traction.
Some little bite.
Little bite.
Tough, tubeless.
Tough, tubeless. 4 tips.
Done.
Obviously, wintertime condition can vary quite a bit. At Old Man Winter Rally, for instance, which is the first weekend in February, some years we're racing in shorts. Some years we are bundled up and it's dumping snow. On the colder end, what do you recommend people wear from the inner layer out?
Yeah. First off, I start with a base layer, specifically a wool base layer. Keeps that warmth in. It's great for this cold 20-degree days where maybe you don't see as much sun. Then I'm going to put a jacket over top. Usually a jacket's got a little bit of fleece in there, nice and warm. Of course, don't overdress though, because if you overdress, you're going to start having to take those layers off. You're going to sweat a lot more, and you're going to get cold a lot faster.
Synthetics are good. As you mentioned a wool base layer, that's a great way to go. A synthetic is also good because it can stay warm when wet. Cotton, not so much.
Yeah, also a vest or a windbreaker over top of that jacket is a really nice add-on. You can always take that off. It's a nice light layer, but it does cut through that wind to keep your body a little bit warmer.
Many of you are familiar with Gore-Tex Windstopper. Their latest and greatest version of that is Infinium. It keeps the chill out, but still allows you to expel some of the moisture. One base layer material that comes in a few different styles is this Polartec Alpha. It's really fleecy.
Nice.
It's a lot of loft packs down pretty tight and yeah, keeps you warm even when that's wet. So yeah, Polartec Alpha and Gore-Tex Infinium are two materials that I'd suggest you looking for. Keeps you happy. What do you think about wind stopper on tights versus no?
I like it. These cold days, it's really great. Keeps those legs nice and warm. They are going to be a lot heavier though. They are going to be a lot more material, so you're going to probably get a little bit warmer faster. However, I would go for it. I prefer the tights with the fleece on the inside. Keeps my legs nice and warm, and don't really sweat all that often. So
one thing I would recommend is practice. Practice your clothes just like you practice, riding with your bike gear. Just seeing what works for you in different temperatures and at different paces. What is comfortable for you on a casual weekend ride and what's comfortable when you're at race pace are two very different things. So try different layers, see what works.
Especially with racing, sometimes with the tights, you're going to want to wear maybe knee warmers instead, something that you can rip off if you do in fact get warm during that race.
What's your cutoff point temperature-wise for going outside versus riding on the trainer?
Usually like 25.
Okay.
25 is a bit chilly. I have ridden in below 10 degrees. Was that realistic or
was that fun?
Or should you do that? Do not recommend.
Now let's talk handling. How should one drive the bicycle when it's snowy and icy? One general tip is to ride like you drive, as in don't slam on the brakes, don't make sudden turns.
Don't ride red lights.
Yeah, your basic driving etiquette applies here. When you approach an icy patch, what do?
Get off and walk. Straight line it.
Straight lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of making sudden turns or grabbing a bunch of brakes, keep your body relaxed and go straight across it. Another thing to do is look for spots where there are traction on the road or trail. Sometimes there'll be like little patches of ice and you can go around it. Which has more traction, ice or snow?
Definitely snow.
Go for snow. How about pedaling? Do you go for a higher cadence or lower cadence? Do you think about cadence when you're pedaling across?
I go a little slower, steady, You think it's steady, smooth.
So just like you don't want to grab a bunch of brakes because that could cause you to lose traction, you don't want to just start sprinting because you're going to slide out. So be like Alex, be like Leah, be smooth.
Be like Ben.
Just like always on the bike, the more relaxed you are, the better. If you look at Alex's posture, look at Leah's posture when they're riding, they're relaxed. They're not, having their shoulders in their ears.
Relaxed and hopeful. That's how I ride. Yeah. Relaxed and hopeful.
Yeah, hopeful, like
optimistic.
Talk about optimistic eyes. Where do you put your eyes? Do you look up the road? Do you look right down at your front wheel?
You don't stare at the ice. Yeah. Look where the traction is. Where the traction is. Hopefully that's in front of you.
Look where you want to go with hope in your heart. Okay, so you don't want to grab a bunch of brakes, but if you need to slow down, how do you do that?
I usually shift my weight back a little bit and aim more for rear brake than front brake. Because that front brake, if the traction's low, you don't want that front wheel going away.
Yeah, and if either wheel needs to slide, better the rear a little than the front.
Yeah, because you can't see that one.
If you can't see it, it doesn't exist.
You can't see it, it goes back to optimism and hope,
So feather the brakes and favor the rear more than the front. Yeah, we're not faking the winter. It is indeed
it is cold out.
Winter time. Often when it's cold out, you don't think about eating or drinking so much. What to do?
Yeah, eat, drink. Don't forget. Best thing to do, especially, I like to wear my lobster gloves, so sometimes I just forget to grab those snacks out of my back pocket. I put a lot of my calories in the bottles. That's a big tip that I would recommend. Put the calories, put the carbs in the bottle. That way you can grab it, you can drink it, and you can still keep going.
When it is freezing, do you do anything to keep your drinks from freezing?
Usually if I'm prepping bottles, I put hot water in them. Keeps the bottles nice and warm. They don't freeze up on you. It's nice to have a little bit of hot water too.
Insulated bottles and what I call Camelback hydration pack can be a way to go. You can put the hydration pack under your jacket.
When you are going to wear a pack, just make sure, a good tip is blow the water out of the tube after you take a sip so that it doesn't freeze in the tube. That way, when you go to take another sip, there's still water coming out.
For those wondering, I put on this jacket because it is actually in the 20s.
It's quite cold out here.
It's very cold.
Indeed, winter. Extreme temperatures call for extreme measures. Alex lives up in Netherlands, elevation 8,000 feet. What was the temperature this morning when you got it?
It was 15. It was
15 degrees.
Yeah.
What is your cutoff for riding as far as temperature?
Depends on the bike.
Okay.
Yeah. The fat bike, I don't know. There's really no cutoff. Gravel bike, if I'm going to be getting up to speed a little bit, 15 is pretty low.
15 is pretty low. Just like keeping your feet warm, keeping your hands warm can be the limiter for many folks. You know, thick gloves are a great option. When it's super cold, going with sleeping bags on your hand is an option. You mentioned fat bikes and pogies or bar mitts are popular with fat bikers. Work pretty darn well for gravel too. I was riding yesterday, it was like mid-20s or something with bar mitts and just a thin Perfetto glove, and my hands are like nice and warm. You can operate the shifters very easily because you got a thin glove.
They're not stylish.
What are you talking about? This is like the height of fashion here.
They're not stylish, but that's okay because nobody else rides in the winter and no one will see you. And if you wear thin gloves, you can eat food and text. What do you do with your feet? Nobody knows, but we know.
Keep them warm.
Keep them warm.
You've got two basic options for keeping your toesies cozy. You can go booties or you can go boots. What is your preference, Sir House?
The boots. You have boots. So there's standard riding booty. As seen here. They're not racing shoes, right? You can race in them.
Of course you can.
But they're not.
You've won races in them.
I won Old Man Winter in these.
In a boot.
Actually, these exact ones.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they see bike racing shoes, they look at the weight, they're like, God, I don't know about this and that. And it's like, man, you know what sucks? Having cold feet.
Yeah.
You know what's not going to help you? 5 grams, you know? So, good boots. To me, they're a necessity. They're a must. Booties, they're nice. I don't love them. Kind of an imperfect situation, you know? Especially when it's cold. When it's cold. Look at the stompers.
Those are some serious combat boots.
Yeah, they're more for walking than riding, but you know.
So Old Man Winter, for those of you who have not done it, the crux of this race is Rowena, a 1 mile climb that sometimes is rideable when it's dry, sometimes it's deep snow, and walking in booties, you can get snow all jammed up inside there. If you have a boot, not so much.
Put the spikes on, run it out.
Alex is a Northwave guy, I'm a Shimano shoe guy, but same basic thing, you know, Gore-Tex exterior, bit of insulation, and it's just a one-piece thing, so it's a good...
The cuff around the top is key. You know, they all have that. Keeps the snow out.
Keeps the snow out.
When you're running in Rowena.
And lastly, you want to keep your head and neck warm, right? Along with the hands and the feet, keeping this part warm will keep the rest of your body warm.
I'm not taking this off.
Neck gaiters go a long way, whether they're your handy dandy Old Man Winter gaiters, something with some thermal properties. Also easy to regulate, layers like Leah mentioned you can take off and on. And then hats, very thin, go a long way. Whether it's a thermal piece or something with a bit of Gore-Tex or a wind block layer, goes a long way towards keeping you warm, keeping you happy, and keeping you playing outside.
And if you're really desperate, get a hood.
How fast do you go?
Well, I start kind of like a medium fast, and it sort of fades and fades and fades. Yeah, how to pace the race is always a question. What do you recommend people do, particularly if they're starting their first winter gravel race.
Yeah, if it's your first winter gravel race, well, you're gonna want to go your pace. Start out going what's comfortable with you. You know, roads can be obviously covered with snow, can be covered with ice. You're gonna have people on the road. You're gonna be racing with other people. So find the people that kind of go your speed, ride with them, make some new friends. As the race goes on, I'm sure you'll figure out, okay, yeah, let's push it here, or I'm comfortable.
Have fun is the primary idea when you're riding a bike on the snow and ice. Alex, in addition to being a long-term professional rider, is also a coach. So coach, drop some knowledge here. What's the training benefit or benefits for riding a gravel bike outside in the winter?
Well, one benefit is you stay a lot warmer when you're riding your bike than when you just stand around. When you stand around in the same clothes.
If you're just
standing,
we're not getting any training benefit
very
here.
Cold, yeah, we're not getting any training benefit, and we're just getting colder. So you stay warmer. But no, volume's a big one, right? The pros are always getting their miles in. You got to get your 10,000 hours in before you're a bike genius.
Okay,
hard to do that when you only, ride in the summer.
It's more fun than riding the trainer.
A lot more fun than riding the trainer.
There's a place and a time for the trainer, but
you're a big trainer guy. I've seen you do it. I've done it too. We all do it. I don't have to brag about it. It's a lot more fun just getting outside. The handling aspect, you learn a lot of things when it's a little slicey dicey. There's a reason why everybody races cross, or everybody used to race cross.
Back in the day.
The best racers out there, the Vanderpools, the Wout van Aerts, Tom Pigocks, like those guys, they all race cross. They're out there in the winter. You want to be like your heroes,
And handling skills you can practice in the winter can translate to later on. So your front wheel might not be slipping in ice at a summertime race, but you may be more comfortable with the bike slipping and knowing how to correct that if you've been practicing it, right?
Yeah. The more you do the stuff, the better you get. So just do it all year long.
Go forth and do.
Just go forth and do. Have fun. I don't know. It's fun. I like it.
Fun's good.
That's why I do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why you do it. I like it.
Hopefully these tips will help you get outside and have fun more often this winter. And if you don't already have Old Man Winter Rally on your calendar, put it on there. We will see you out there.
You want to take a bath?
Yeah.
I wonder if the bar mats are more aero.
In the next episode, we'll be going into the wind tunnel to test the aerodynamic benefits of the bar mitt versus the pogie. I'm saying bar mitt, because it's like...
Just covers it all up.
Yeah.
They should be illegal. They should ban them.
You hear that, UCI?
UCI's coming for the bar
UCI's
mitts.
coming after your bar mitts, man. Yeah. They hate fun, man.
Take your hands and then they take your soul.